Disccount Podcast.
Welcome in, you cheap beggars, to another episode of Discount, the bargain bin gaming podcast, hosted by three hosts so small we look as if Santa is looking down upon us at all times.
Yeah, we're reindeer.
Vulnerable in bed.
As reindeer are, yes.
I am your host, Josh. I am 7 feet tall. I love to cook. I hate the hive. I put the I in MasterChef. I'm plugging into player 2.
I am running into traffic because someone will not cut the tomatoes. They are right there. They are close to you. I need to get the burgers out of the frying pan. I'm Darren. Hi. And letting the oven burst into flames because the cutscene is still running.
Oh, sorry. I'm cooking some stew with my Pikachu while my unruly Charizard sets the village next door on fire. It's Gareth.
Good God, I know it's been a while since we've recorded.
I was engrossed by the story. Also, I have a gripe with you two. You can't tell me I'm going to put the music on so that we can dance to it, and then leave me as the only one dancing.
I think we were dancing the appropriate levels. So for those not watching, appropriate levels of how we would normally dance.
I danced how we have danced for the past 2 episodes.
Yeah,
and you two did not.
I dance like my people who aren't dancers.
Well, I'm very disappointed. What a disappointing beginning this was.
Well, so they tell me.
So they tell you.
Yeah.
Yes, welcome. It's been a while since our last episode. We did have some technical issues. Now I've got a brand new, shiny microphone, and I sound better than the other 2 pieces of garbage that are with me. But yeah, we're back. We should be issue-free going forwards, at least for the next couple of episodes. I'm not saying forever, because, you know, life and all that crap. But we're glad to be back. Sorry we didn't do the November freebies, but we did put some stuff up on Instagram. Brief summary. We liked Skyrim, we liked Kingdom Hearts, we liked Ratchet & Clank, we liked Neo 2, and then everything else was fine. But that's pretty much it. So if you missed that, check out those 4 games. Those are the ones you should be doing. But do check out our Instagram. We have got it saved to our stories and things like that.
Yeah.
Fun. And that's at Disccount Pod. There we go. See, done a plug already. Look
2
at me go.
Cs.
2 C's. Discount. But really, we can talk about, how's everyone doing? Is everyone enjoying December? Did anyone get any good Black Friday deals?
No, I'm poor.
I mean, I got Persona 5 Royale on Steelbook, but apart from that, not many deals on Black Friday. There were lots about, just nothing we went for. But who cares? Should we just get into this episode? Let's cook up some trouble. But before we do that, let's open the vault. That vault took a lot longer to open than expected. I pressed play and it thought about it, leaving Darren there straining on those hinges.
The door was stuck like some gravel on the floor. It couldn't quite get there.
Where do we have this vault?
Oh, I brought the gravel in.
Oh, you brought the gravel in. So it's underground. You just do like a little sort of patio style thing.
I was like, I'll be waiting. I took out my pocket gravel and just threw it on the floor.
Pocket gravel. I sometimes throw it in the eyes of my enemies to escape.
Yes, exactly.
Some people use sand. You use big sand, which is gravel.
Yep.
But anyway, should we look at the vault for last episode?
Indeed.
So last episode was Fight. I can't do the voice. Fight. So we're looking for fighting games. Obviously, we had Dragon Ball Fighters, Fighter Z. Who knows? Fighters is what I'm calling it. Def Jam Icons and Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Yes.
With a really long epitaph on the end of whatever they had there. And we asked you guys what you thought deserved to join the many games in the vault. So far this season, we've only had 1 game in, which was
Dead Space.
So which of those 3 games joins the likes of Dead Space?
Can we just put Dead Space in again?
I to be honest, would love to put Dead Space back in there again because it's great. But if you guys are choosing, what would you have put in there?
Dead Space again.
Dead Space again.
Honestly,
through this.
Sorry. He fights in it. He does.
I would have put Def Jam Icons in there. I just would have.
Just would have put it in there.
I just would put it in there. Yeah.
Just for chaos.
I just think think it deserves it.
What a lovely stream that would have been.
That'd
yeah.
be great. Yeah.
So glad we're not doing that. So, the actual winner was, by popular demand, winning, I think, by a single vote.
Nice. That's popular.
Is Dragon Ball FighterZ. I think we all agree that it's actually probably the best of the three as a fighting game.
Yeah, for sure.
So probably, honestly, should be in there.
From the discussion, it sounded like Def Jam maybe has the best sort of story and the best entertainment side of things. Marvel vs. Capcom is the best outright through and through fighting game.
Yeah.
But this strikes the best balance of being good fighting mechanics and actually being a game.
Definitely, definitely. And I think that's what we so I'm glad it's in there.
Yeah.
I'm glad I wasn't the one who had to buy it, so has to stream it next, Keris.
Oh, Jesus.
Not for a while, not for a while.
I didn't think about that at all.
We were talking about this earlier, is that the vault, the games currently in the vault, are very heavily skewed between two of us.
Yeah.
And it's nice that when fighting comes along, Keris decides to take the hit and be like, don't worry, I'll put mine in.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll hit that.
Funny enough, obviously there's a newish Dragon Ball game that's just come out, hasn't there? Which is the asymmetrical Dragon Ball one.
Yeah.
Which I imagine would be more fun to stream.
Probably, yeah.
Probably more fun to stream. But you know what? We're here. We've got this. So thank you everyone for voting for that. Don't know what to do with this now.
I know.
Throw it on the ground.
Good throw.
Nailed it. That's exactly where I wanted it to land. So yeah, in the vault it goes. Throwing it in there. Do you guys mind closing the vault for me?
I'll pick up my gravel.
Pick up your gravel first.
I just moved it a slightly bit.
Okay, you ready to slide it? Ready to slide it? Slide it for me. Thank you. I made that a little more sexual than intended.
Yeah.
But that's fine. I'm not sure there was meant to be music when
Would
you
you
closed
like
the vault.
me to apply the gravel?
Yes, Daddy.
As a deterrent more than
As a
anything.
deterrent, yeah. Oh, God. But yeah, that was the previous episode, so let's forget about that.
Who needs
now.
it?
Who needs it?
Who needs it?
Garbage.
It was barely even a real episode.
It definitely was.
Were we there? Who knows?
It does feel so long ago, I don't remember recording it.
No.
I don't remember recording it. But yeah, we definitely were there. But we're now moving forward. The next game, there was a sort of choice from the random genre generator.
Yep.
And that was cooking. So I'm going to hand it over to Darren, if that's all right.
Yep.
And he's going to explain what cooking is.
It's making food and shit, not be raw.
Hey.
Unless it's sushi.
Unless it's sushi. Unless it's making food and shit.
Then it's just making food and shit. But yeah, to be honest, cooking...
It's a random category, isn't it?
It is. I think cooking is pretty much what it says on the tin. I know we discussed it last time and said it'd be a shame if someone was to go really on the nose with something like a cooking mama.
Yeah.
But and we thought we'd all do something slightly different. Not that I'm leading this up here for something down the line, but very much leading up for something down the line.
This is one of my favourite categories, because it's a category like dog sidekicks or like horses.
Yeah.
Where you're not stuck to a genre or stuck to like a type of game. You just go, fucking cooking?
I thought you
Could be
didn't say...
anything.
I didn't think you said dog sidekicks. I thought you said dog psychics.
Yes.
Like a very, very niche one. You have to find
That's
dogs
really-
that can read minds and tell the future. And they write like tarot cards.
Grand.
Okay, but if it's that constellation, I would play that game.
I would have made Mad Max more interesting.
It would have. I reckon you could probably find a dog psychic game. I imagine there's a dog that's got like a little like turban on its
That's
head.
probably,
Aw.
that's probably a Pokemon.
Yeah.
Psychic dog.
Yeah.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
Is an Espeon sort of basically psychic fox?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cat
I
thing.
mean,
I don't know.
yeah.
Who knows? But yeah, so we're on cooking now, and obviously I imagine we all had a lot of thoughts in our head what games we could do for cooking.
Yeah, I have like a little list
that you
of
look
things
through.
I couldn't do.
All right. Well, what games were you looking at then?
Well, I say a full list, but I only want to talk about two, actually, in fact.
The rest was shit.
Yeah, if I'm honest.
Oh, okay.
There were, three that I was thinking of doing. Sorry. The first
Sorry,
one I
four,
wanted
four.
to
My
do...
final offer is
it's
four.
It's three. There were three that I wanted to do before I picked the one that I did. The first one being, when this was announced, it was The Sims 4, you still had to buy it. So I was going to get you The Sims 4.
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
But then it became free to play, so it kind of, value for money would have been shot out the window, let's be honest.
Definitely.
The other one that I was going to get you to do was Pokemon Arceus, which is where, technically it's not stew from my intro, it's curry, but, I thought that would have been pretty cool for you.
Yeah, definitely.
But we already have it, so again,
you still could buy it again.
Yeah, and that's a lesson I've learned for future, because that would have been pretty cool. But
I will say, for a previous episode of this podcast, I straight up bought a game for myself I already owned.
So did I with Zelda Breath of the Wild. Admittedly, I only had the box because I can't find the game. So I now have 2 boxes and 1 game.
I get you. Okay. So in future, that is something I'll definitely do, because that would have been really cool. And I think the third one I was going to do was an Overcooked, but we already have Overcooked and it's digital download only. So it was a bit like...
I think there are physical versions of it, but they're ridiculous money.
They're very expensive,
I mean, I think that was... if we're being honest, this is a perfect category for ridiculous priced games that'd be perfect. There's so many indie titles that have like real fun cooking mechanics in there. They're like normally Devolver or something like that. And they go, here's your real version for £3 million. I mean, like Cult of the Lamb has a load of cooking in it. Because it was one I was looking at again, and you're looking at it and going, if I buy it, it's 150 quid, and there isn't a physical version yet, but you could buy it for £15 online.
Yeah.
Did you have any, Darren, that you were
I very quickly found an indie game I wanted to buy called Dungeon Munchies, I think it's called.
I mean, just from the name, it deserves to win.
Are you familiar with a game called Moonlighter?
Yeah, I know Moonlighter, where you work as like a...
Yeah, the idea is you run a shop, you go into dungeons, you kill enemies, you get drops from the enemies, you sell the drops in your shop to make money, to buy upgrades, to get further in dungeons, to look like that. Okay. And it's the same thing, except you're on a restaurant.
Right.
So you killed enemies in the dungeons to make meals out of them, to like run your business, to get further in the dungeons, to come back. I thought that was super cool.
Oh, that is cool.
I want to buy Tales of Arise. I love that game. It has a great cooking mechanic in it. It's too expensive.
I mean, I want to play Tales of Arise, but it wouldn't have gone to me anyway that you buy them for.
And the last one, there is a series of RPGs called Trails of Cold Steel.
Okay.
And they all apparently have quite in-depth cooking mechanics, but the internet would not tell me which one was the best one.
Right.
Because there's 13 of them, and every list is completely different. And I'm like, I'm not fucking with that.
No, that's fair enough.
I'm not fucking with it. Just go around, do something else.
Roll the dice. I mean, if they're all good, if they're all technically good games, though.
I mean, there were 2 lists back to back I found where someone ranked one of the games as their best, and then the next person ranked it as their worst. Like, what are we doing?
Well, I mean, maybe that's a good thing, saying that all of them are really good and they can't make a decision. That could be one way, but you didn't go that way anyway.
But also, Overcooked.
That's good.
Overcooked is overcooked.
Yeah.
I have one question for you, and it's not based on this. When are we meant to be doing the Into the Genre music drop? Because I can't remember when I meant to play that. Is that now before we discuss the games?
Before now, but I'll chuck it in.
You'll chuck it in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Smooth.
I won't also cut this out. It'll be great.
I could just press it now, and then we can feel like we're good. But no, we'll continue on.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. But yeah, so cooking games, lots of cooking games that we could have chosen. But we didn't choose lots of cooking games. We chose one cooking game each. We did.
Yes.
That some are more cooking than other cookings.
Yes.
Imagine if there was like a loophole in this that we could just buy a load of cooking games.
Well, every cooking game, you choose one.
I break out like 5 games and go, whichever one of these you like the most, you sell that on the episode. I'll be good then.
I mean, value for money is tanked a little there because you probably have to get all of them together.
Average it.
Okay. But we did buy some games. In fact, I bought the first game.
You did.
I think I bought it the day that we announced it
did.
because I'm impatient and I didn't think too hard. And sent it straight to you, Darren. So what game did you receive?
I received, as I lean behind me, Kingdom Come Deliverance. Kingdom Come : Deliverance.
Obvious title for a cooking game.
Obvious title for a cooking game. Because, there's cookings in kingdoms and you deliverance the food. So,
food do come.
The food do come.
So, Kingdom Come Deliverance. You've
not played it at all, have you, Keris?
I don't even know what this is.
Don't know anything about it.
Explain it to Keris then.
So this was a Kickstarter game originally. I learned this because apparently the guy came up with the idea, he sold the idea, they went, I don't know about that. And he went, yeah, but what does the internet say? And I went, yeah, all right. I'll pay for that. And that's how it came to be.
Okay.
It is set in, I believe, 15th or 16th century Bohemia. Sort of the height of the Holy Roman Empire. You play as Henry, who is the son of a blacksmith, And the game
That's
starts...
his full name. Henry, son of Blacksmith.
Henry, son of Blacksmith.
Yeah.
I say that because I don't remember what his surname is. I think it's only ever said in passing, and everyone else just calls him Henry.
Yeah.
Fair.
You start off doing menial tasks as the son of a blacksmith. You go hit on the local barmaid, fight a guy for his money, and go and deliver a sword.
Nice.
And then, as is tradition in the 15th century,
Shit goes wrong.
your town is razed to the ground and your parents are brutally murdered by invading warriors.
It's standard.
Yep.
Standard.
And so far, a lot of cooking.
Yes.
A lot of cooking. You, because you are the son of a blacksmith, piss the fuck right out of there. And go to like a local castle.
Is that a standard term?
Yeah, piss the fuck out of there. Yeah. Have you not heard that before? I think it's in the dictionary somewhere.
Oh, I like it.
I'm going to Google now.
And basically what unfolds is that there is a sort of conflict going on about who is ascending to the throne of the Holy Roman Empire, because Charles IV, I believe the emperor, has just died. The guy who's supposed to be in line, who was the ruler of Bohemia and sort of the surrounding area, has been deposed. He's been sort of imprisoned. And I think it's his half-brother, Sigismund, who rules like Hungary and that sort of area, has come to fuck shit up and basically conquer Bohemia.
So quite accurate, historically set.
Yes, the names are right. I don't know if the events are right.
Right, fair enough.
It's accurate enough that you can look into it and go,
okay.
Yeah.
this is about this time.
Right.
But basically then you continue on, you sort of get involved in the whole Central Crisis, and that continues from there. This game is very, very intent on its realism.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, like, you have to sleep a certain amount, you have to eat a certain amount, you get tired if you're carrying too much, you just get tired if you walk around too much.
Yeah.
Like I had a mission I got stuck in where I was meant to be following a guard around as he introduced me to the different parts of the town. But I hadn't slept. So my fucking Henry's like face just going, falling asleep.
Oh my god!
And I'm like, let me go to sleep or finish the mission.
Yeah.
But that is my main sort of issue with this game, is I think it leans so far into being realistic that it stops being fun somewhere along the way.
I get you.
But
I'll sort of leave it there for now. I'll get a bit more into it when we get into entertainment.
But there is cooking elements in this.
There is cooking elements in it, because you have sort of this hunger meter, and you can get underfed, you can get overfed even. But you have the option to...
Can you get overcooked?
It's a different game.
Okay, sorry.
What happens if you get overfed?
I think you have a penalty like stamina.
Oh,
you feel
okay.
just like bloated.
Kind of like food coma.
Yeah. But,
That's cool.
Yeah, you can basically pick up all sorts of rare meats, all sort of raw meats, not rare meats. Maybe rare meats, I don't know. Yeah.
Maybe
it's
rare raw
shiny.
meat.
It's a shiny meat.
Rare raw meat.
Rare raw meats.
Hey.
Raw meats, fruits, vegetables, all that sort of stuff. At most fires and most sort of inns and that, you can cook them. There's also just stew pots hanging around, and you can eat from the stew pot, or you can just put anything in it and continue to eat from it.
And the food does have different sort of...
Yeah, I think they have different sort of
But
healing values.
I suppose we'll
ways.
talk about that in relevance. and stuff like that. So, yeah, sorry, that was me questioning further.
Yes, there is cooking in the game.
Fair enough. So, as we said, we were looking for games that were cooking-based, that weren't super on the nose. So, you bought me a game next, didn't you?
I did!
And did you follow that?
Absolutely not!
No, because we got Cooking Mama
Listen,
Cookstar.
I want to explain this, right? So I went through my list of things and I was trying to find games and they weren't quite working for me and stuff. And then I remembered last time you said, wouldn't it be really lazy if somebody just got a Cooking Mama?
Yeah.
And you know what I thought? Fuck yeah, it would. And then I did it.
It's like overcommitting to the joke, and I respect it.
I felt like if I got anything else, I wouldn't get points for anything.
No.
So I thought, fuck it, I'm going to get most
I agree
accurate.
with you. In the Death episode, I bought a game where you play as Death committing death called the Deathinative Edition. Like, I
here we
understand
are.
the game.
I mean, the
of-
word cook is
Yeah.
in this twice in just the title.
And Mama.
And Mama. Yes.
That's good for
I mean,
our next topic, mamas.
And Star.
Yeah.
And King and all sorts. We can make lots of words out of these. But yeah, so I
I
got...
game had a king in it.
I teach English.
So yes, thank you. You do indeed teach English.
Yes.
I do the English teaching.
Yes, and you're not as lazy in
Do-do.
that as you are in buying games. So yeah, I got Cooking Mama Cookstar. It's a Cooking Mama game. So if you haven't played Cooking Mama before, it's a cookery simulation game.
Yep.
It's basically a bunch of mini games put together to make recipes, and you make a bunch of recipes, and that's it.
Yep.
There is no story. There is no anything. There's a bunch of customization. So you get if you do it with, so it's 3 stars. You get.
I would argue with you on the story point there.
Oh, go ahead.
You are an independent young woman.
No, you're
learning to branch out.
No, you're not.
And make recipes.
You aren't Cooking Mama. Cooking Mama is helping you.
Well, then you make friends with an independent young woman who cooks.
Oh, it's got a silent protagonist. That's fun.
That's fun, yeah.
It's like Half-Life.
Yes, it's basically Half-Life for cooking.
Yeah.
Cooking Mama is Half-Life.
But yes, this is the 6th Cooking Mama game.
I remember the first one fondly.
It was. I think the very first one was in 2008, and then they made 5.
Game, yeah.
Made 5 over the course of 6 years. And then this one was a 6-year hiatus because, they were perfecting what is Cooking Mama.
Oh, I would argue, I think it's because they royally fucked the one before.
It was, and there was a lot of argument about the person who held the IP plus the publication house, and there was a whole hoo-ha. Who thought Cooking Mama would be so aggressive behind the scenes? But yeah, it's been released. I got the PS5 version of it.
Is it really pushing that hardware?
It's intensive. PS4 version, was it?
Yeah.
Well, sorry, I got the PlayStation version of it rather than the Switch version or anything.
Really pushing that slightly inferior hardware.
But yeah, I will go into a bit more detail. I don't think there's much else to say apart from, this one now has introduced vegetarian options.
Ooh,
so to work through the trophies, you either get classic version or vegetarian version.
Nice.
And there are 2 modes. There's one where you get sort of coached about what you need to do as you go through each one, and one which is Cookstar mode, where you just go through and you have to work it out, and if you mess up, death to that recipe. And then at the end of each recipe, it shows you you do a bunch of posts for Instagram, and you get likes based on how well you've done in each section. But yeah, it's very much a cooking game. I don't think there's much else to say. As I said, there isn't much in the way of story.
It's cooking.
I would just want to point out that the voice acting in it is someone else actually described it this way as nightmarish.
Good.
Because I think it is nightmarish. Yeah, it's good. It was. It's almost a hate crime.
Yeah.
Cooking Mama. She's definitely a white woman putting on a really strong Asian accent.
Oh, good.
I don't know. It feels a little off. But overall, it is a cooking game. It's Cooking Mama. I got what I was given, and I very much feel it did what it said it was going to do.
So it's a strong feminist game, but slightly racist, is what we're saying.
I wouldn't say it's a strong feminist game because it's implying that all women should be in the kitchen.
Yeah, I was going to
say. Feminist game.
You don't know the gender of the silent protagonist?
I don't.
You can change your hand colours.
I don't know.
Oh, nice.
But it doesn't show you what gender you are because hands very non-gendered parts of the body, I would say.
Yeah.
in a basic
famously
it's inclusive to all. I love that. It's progressive.
Right, stop trying to argue for it right now. We're not even got to that point. You received a game.
I did.
From Darren.
I did receive a game from Darren, and I received Final Fantasy 15.
Nice.
Yes, very nice.
15th one.
Yeah.
That's not even remotely true.
Cool.
It's a number order, but fuck it.
And what did you think? And what is it?
Okay, so for those of you who haven't played Final Fantasy before, I actually had to get confirmation with Darren on how to explain this because the plot is huge. But essentially, you play as Prince Noctis, and you're with 3 of his friends. And he has an arranged marriage, basically, to a woman who he does actually love a lot, to be fair. And they are on their way to get married to this huge royal wedding.
And she's called Cooking Mama.
She's not Cooking Mama. And essentially, on his way to the wedding, war breaks out. His father dies, and he finds out, essentially, on the way to this wedding, that he is not only king, but now he has to kind of go to war against, I think they called the Nilfheim. Yeah. And it basically takes you on a huge game that's it's pretty open world, it's very open world, really. And yeah, I would love to say that I've put as much time into this as I should have. I loved this game. I will go into more detail about that in a little bit. I can't wait to carry on playing it. But I just haven't had the time to put as much into it as I would like because work has been so busy.
It's a big game.
It's so big.
I think that's
the
real reason why you probably haven't put as much time as you feel you should have because of how large it is. It's a long old game to complete.
Yeah,
I mean, we'll get into that sort of times afterwards.
Absolutely, but it's bloody brilliant, and it's the first time I have ever played a Final Fantasy game, so this has made me excited to play any of the others that come out, to maybe give the older ones a go.
I would recommend others.
Yeah, I'm excited to venture into this.
Sorry, I'm talking over you all the time here, but I'd say it's like a strange Final Fantasy game as well. I would say it's not as Final Fantasy as other Final Fantasy games.
It takes quite a big departure from... So they were pretty similar up to, I want to say, 10. And then 11 and 12 are sort of a bit of a break from the norm. 13... was a complete break. 14 is an MMO. And then 15 is this. And they keep sort of reinventing it. A lot of people say 6 to 10 is the sweet spot.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, 7's regarded as everyone's favourite, isn't it?
It's 6 or 7 or maybe 9.
8's mine, which, because I'm saying
I will say one of the things...
I probably like 10 the most, which is that 6 to 10 range.
One of the things that I was really surprised about is when... Because obviously, you hear about Final Fantasy. I've never played it before. And it takes place on EOS. Yeah. However, it's a very Earth-like setting.
Yeah.
I didn't personally expect that. So when the Dreadnoughts turned up, I was like, oh, okay. Like this is kind of more what I was expecting. Whereas the first kind of chapter, at least, until you come into combat with things, which was really cool. Again, we'll talk about that again. Yeah. I just didn't expect the setting to be so Earth-like, but I liked it.
Yeah.
I actually did like it. It was cool.
Cool. So those are our 3 games. I would say quite varied, but 2 of them are quite similar, I think, in scope and idea. But
Cooking Mama and Kingdom.
Yeah, Cooking Mama and Kingdom Come. They're both about a strong woman who's had their families raised and all that sort of thing. Yeah,
Cooking Mama is also about the struggles of 15th century Bohemia. Yeah,
that's it. So
you don't know where it's set.
No, I don't. It's definitely modern day. It's definitely modern day, because who else has Instagram?
Modern day, if you're in 15th century.
Yes, that's what... Sorry, I get it wrong all the time. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. It's modern day if I was back in time. Yes.
Were Cooking Mama's parents also brutally murdered?
You don't know.
They're the first 2 courses you make.
Yeah.
Great.
Good.
It was like, oh, is it a rainbow cake or is it actually
my God. Mom? She's a feminist and she's a cannibal.
Cannibal feminist. Yeah. Actual cannibal Cooking Mama. So, should we move...
Hashtag eat all men, am I right?
Should we jump into the actual fight of this all?
Yes.
Let's do it. The monster's kicked in.
Yeah, we can hear. It's a fight.
Round 1, fight!
I like that all of us forgot how long it takes for it to come in. We all start to go...
I had the fight ready to go. I forgot round 1 was coming.
Yeah.
I also came later than I was thinking, so is it fight? Round what?
Yeah, who? What?
Round?
So, we are going into our normal categories. If you have not been here before, we will now fight over which of these 3 games is the best for this for cooking. We do 4 different categories where points are awarded.
Yeah.
What did I say?
Sorry, I just wondered why you said cooking as if you were fucking Patrick Stewart for a second. Cooking.
I don't know.
It's worthy of
Acting.
Acting, yes. Cooking. The 4 categories are most accurate, value for money, most entertaining, and play of the game, which is a chance for you to claw back some points on the game you've played. But all the rest of them go to the person who purchased it, and we'll work through. Mm-hmm. So the very first one is most accurate.
Most accurate, yeah.
So can I just say me?
Yeah.
So I'll go first, and you go. Actually, no, I'll go last. You guys go and argue yours first, and then we'll come back to Cooking Mama Cookstar, cooking food.
I'll go first.
Okay.
There is cooking in this game. It never really introduced as a mechanic. Mm-hmm. It just sort of is there. The idea of hunger is introduced, and it's like, there's food if you need to eat, but it never really ever sits you down and goes, hey, this is how you cook.
Right.
The first I encountered it is I walked past a stew pot in a house I'd been left in, and it was like, hey, do you want to eat from the pot? Like, fuck yeah, I do. So, do you want to put something in the pot? Apple. Eat. Didn't change much. Okay. And I went out. But the thing I'd say against it potentially is that it's not a mechanic you ever need to engage with.
Right, okay, is there enough food about, is there? Is that
you can pick up fucking fruit and vegetables, you can buy cooked meat everywhere and just ram it down your face until you're good. I know one of the DLCs does a lot more with it. It adds like smoking and drying and sort of salting meats and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, like the cooking mechanics it's cool that they're there. It's a nice bit of realism that you can sort of go to a fire, go to a hearth with your bit of horse meat you found and chuck it on the fire and then eat it. And it does improve like the health it gives back or the nourishment it gives back.
Yeah.
Because you have your nourishment meter and that's what decides if you're underfull or overfull.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, you can sort of skirt around the whole thing without having
just avoiding cooking altogether.
You just ram fucking apples down your face until you're full and then go good.
Well, the reason I picked it, so I was looking at games where cooking is quite important. I agree, the DLC on it expands it massively. The smoking and the thing, you can carry that food for a longer period of time before it perishes in your bag.
Because it does have that sort of perish meter, and I think cooked perishes slower, maybe.
Yeah, it does, definitely.
So you have these options to move along it, but also you can just ram rotten apples down your face.
And there's also the element that the food you select when you're cooking, there isn't clear recipes, but you start building things. You go, this will give me better this and that. So I was like, there is an intricate cooking method in there, which is part of the reason I picked it, because I thought, if it's got intricate cooking mechanics, maybe it's beneficial. But in the grand scheme of things, if it's not necessary, it's
maybe in like 15 hours time in the game, it goes, hey, here's a full cooking tutorial of how to cook. But at this point, it's not told me anything about it. I've been able to cook. I've cooked 2 or 3 times, but...
You've eaten a lot, but not
I've eaten a lot. Yeah, I just buy bread rolls from the local baker and go, I'm set for years.
Perfect.
Just walk bread.
Walk bread. Which is is that what it should have been called? Was it?
Walk bread. Yeah.
Walk bread. Deliverance.
That's actually my go-to dance in the club. Walk bread.
That was the dance move you were doing at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah.
So
but that's a lie, because there was no dancing.
Sorry, I was doing walk bread walk at the beginning.
Yes, okay, fair enough.
Which then turns into walk bread if you go far enough into the pattern. But yeah, so there is cooking. It's not overly needed, but it is. No. It is.
I feel like there is a depth to it that
you have yet to explore, and it doesn't show you.
Yeah, but also it doesn't feel like there's enough benefit in that depth to warrant going through the depth of it.
Fair enough.
That's fair. Okay, so mine, I do feel like it's partly my fault that it doesn't meet the criteria for me, because again, as I said, I don't feel like I've gotten far enough in the game to experience the cooking mechanic. There's clearly a cooking mechanic there. I've picked up food. There's Ignis, who is one of my favourite people in the game.
He's a good
Not
boy.
my favourite. I will talk about him, but one of my favourites. And he's clearly picking things up. He's clearly the one that's going to cook. There's little things about his skill growing as a cook. However, it probably is my fault. I haven't experienced the cooking mechanic yet. I've experienced other people cooking for me. For example, at one point you go fishing for a cat. Maybe one of my favourite things that I've done.
Ever done in a game?
Ever. Don't spoil you play the game.
And no, it's not. It was going to be until this other thing happened, and then I was like, yes, that's the one.
It is a great moment because that cat shakes you the fuck down.
Yes, he does. He does.
Is it like a Khajiit?
You're walking past it, and he's like, fish.
It's an actual small cat.
It's a stray cat on a bridge, and it's like...
When you were describing it, I assumed it like a Khajiit from Skyrim.
Oh no, it's an actual cat. It's sat on this bridge, and you walk past it, and Noctis is like, and his friends are like, oh, this cat looks really malnourished. Like, it's, oh, poor thing. Like, we better go and fish for it. And then you fish for it, and it's not the right fish. So you go back and you fish for it again, but then he won't eat it raw. So now you have to go to somebody to cook the fish, and then you give the fish...
What a little prissy cat.
But do you know what? I would die for that cat. I would die for that cat, and I would fish for him 10 times over. So I've experienced the cooking mechanic in that I've had food cooked for me. We've gone and bought food from, like, the garages and the things like that. There's clearly food involved, but I haven't experienced the cooking mechanic, even though I know that it is there. So I'm sure in some ways this is actually pretty accurate, but it's not necessarily the most obvious cooking mechanic, and doesn't come in until a little bit later, I don't think.
I'll say a little more about it. The cooking mechanic only really gets explored when you stay at one of the campsites out in the world.
Right.
And that is a problem that the game has in general, is that a lot of this stuff is limited to these campsites, but the game actively disincentivizes you from going to the campsites.
Right.
Because you basically get a multiplier of XP depending on how nice the place you stay is. And the campsite is the lowest, but that's also where you get a lot of the extra shit.
Right, I get you.
Fun stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, you sort of go around, you pick up ingredients, you have different recipes which give you different buffs. So they might give you like attack up, they might give you XP up, they might give you defense up.
Okay.
And so you can choose that, and that then persists through like until your next sleep. So you can be like, right, I'm about to fight a boss.
So it's more like the standard, the classic cooking in a game.
Absolutely,
where you eat this sort of thing, and it's actually, it's like, buff up or buff out. Like, oh, cool, this is better.
But it's good. You can be like, and Ignis has like a cooking skill that means you unlock more complex recipes as you go up.
It's because his name means fire.
Yes. But it's a lot of like, you go, oh, okay, I'm going to fight a boss in a minute, so I'll stay at this campsite, I'll give myself an attack buff, and then I can go in. Yeah. So that is sort of about where it is. It's another one where you never need to cook if you don't want to.
Yeah.
Right. You do if you want the platinum, because you need to get his level up to max.
Yeah. But I do feel like part of the problem is that like I stayed in chapter 1 for a long time just because I was picking up notices off the notice board, which were like hunting and combat based, because I really enjoyed it. So it took me a long time to get past chapter 1 because I was just having fun doing the side shit. So
I mean that's a standard RPG issue, isn't it? You start. I don't know. Darren's the same as me. Like you'll get a bunch of things. You go, but what's over here? You're like, off you go, and you get murdered unintentionally and stuff.
It's the whole reason I had to quit playing World of Warcraft. Because I had like 20 quests, and one of them took me to a village. And I went, okay, I'll sign this one off, and I'll go on to the next one. And I walked into the village, and there were 10 quests in that village. And I went, nope, I'm out.
Yeah, I mean, I learned the hard way in Final Fantasy, by the way, that you really cannot stay out after dark.
No, you get
holy
messed
crap!
Yeah.
Like they were like, "Oh, it's dangerous. Do we want to go back?" And in my head, I was going, "Ignis, stop being a pussy. We're gonna go." And then I died.
Yep.
I promptly died. And then I went, oh, maybe if I just don't go this way. And he was like, it's dangerous. And I was like, no, just don't.
I think that's part of how it tells you to use the campsites.
Yeah.
Because they're out in the wild. If you're just roaming around, then it ticks over into night. You're like, fuck, I'll stay here.
It's strange because obviously I've played like very beginning of this game, and I was like, campsites. I only ever used campsites, so I was fully aware of these cooking mechanics.
Yeah.
I just went off and I didn't do anything I was meant to. I was just often just clearing the map, like top to bottom, as I always do, just working across in a methodical manner.
About 40% into the game, there's a very specific hotel somewhere that if you stay there gives you a 3 times experience boost.
Right,
and once I never stayed at another campsite.
Makes sense.
I get that.
Because you may as well just boost up your XP massively to over-level yourself.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Does Cooking Mama have cooking?
So, Cooking Mama, is it a cooking game? Yeah, it's all cooking. Let's be honest. That's
it has cooking, feminism, and cannibalism.
Yep.
Right. So,
it's a magical game.
As I said, there's you have a task to like complete. I think it's about 40 or 50 recipes. It is, and you to beat the game, you go through. And you have to do all of these recipes on 3 stars in the basic mode, and then again on Cookstar. So you have to do it about 100 times, 100 different recipes.
Yeah.
Where you have grating, where you have chopping, where you have dicing.
It sounds pretty grating.
Stirring. All of this sort of thing to build it. And like, if you go through and make a slight mistake, you got 2 stars in that area, that's not going to give you perfect. But it is cooking. So you are literally making every dish under the sun, whether you want to be vegetarian or regular, it's going to be there. I mean, I don't need to talk much about if this is accurate. This game's whole thing is cooking. There is no other parts of it apart from brief customization, and as I said, a social media style thing, which you don't even need to engage with because they just give you your rating at the end of it. So you will go, oh, this is something. You won't learn how to actually cook from it. I will put it that
then
way.
What's the fucking point?
It's like, do it. It doesn't give you any times.
I learned how to butcher a blacksmith's family.
Apparently in this, like when you're cooking something like an air fryer, you take it in and out, shake it in and out, You're like, well, we're doing hokey-cokey cooking? What's going on? This is ridiculous. So it doesn't really teach you, but it is all cooking. And by the end of it, you have a dish that you can then put some condiments on or add a little extra garnish and you put up. There is no way this doesn't win most accurate.
I mean, it does sound like an accurate and progressive masterpiece to me.
Right. No.
Yeah. the cannibalism is that actually the title should be read as a sentence and you are cooking Mama Cookstar.
I would, you have to spend the whole time learning how to prepare a body. Like
that is the final dish.
You're washing it, like you have to cut her up and stuff. Yeah,
you don't learn how to cook, but you do learn murder.
It's a bit like the episode of the IT Crowd with the German cannibal, where that's like the last dish. Like someone comes in and offers themselves up to cook it, to be cooking Mama.
The last dish is the popcorn, which she brings for dessert.
True.
Yeah. Yes. But yeah, I think there's no way, and we're not going to argue about it.
No.
Cooking Mama Cookstar wins most accurate because it's all about cooking.
Yep.
Can't
Yes.
argue
It
with
is cooking.
Cool. So that's a point to Keris.
Woo! And it's the point I wanted.
Next up is value for money.
Yeah.
Let's start with Cooking Mama, hey? How much do you spend on this Cooking Mama Cookstar abomination?
£11.59.
What the fuck?
I know. She spent almost £12 on this game. So according to How Long to Beat, it's a 9.5 hour story. Plus the extras is an extra 18 hours. But completion is about 33 hours to complete it.
That is more than I thought.
Yep. It's just 33 hours of doing the same activity over and over again.
It's 33 hours to beat. It's not 33 hours of content.
It's not 33 hours of enjoyment. That's for sure. But yeah, so 33 hours for that amount of time.
Can I just ask? You say that. Did you or did you not get the platinum?
Yeah, I got the platinum.
Did you have a good time?
No, I feel like it felt very much like, when you're forced. It felt like work.
Okay.
But it felt like work
that's what being a chef is.
It felt like work in a culty way. Like
Okay.
It's like, you must enjoy this.
Yeah.
You must enjoy this. I'm like, okay, please. But I'll talk more about enjoyment in the next section. Enjoyable, but there is stuff to talk about enjoyment wise, but it outstays its welcome.
Okay, I get that.
Final Fantasy 15. How much did you spend on Final Fantasy 15?
£3.99.
What the fuck? I thought I'd done quite well for
£99.
£11.59. I was like, oh yeah, bargain.
£3.99 buys you a 28-hour story mission,
Yeah.
53 hours of extras, but completionist 94.5 hours.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
I'm going to be honest with you. If this doesn't win value for money, I will be shocked because I mean, you can wag your finger as much as you want. Like, this game is huge and there is so much to do and so much offered to you. And because this is like, apart from like maybe one other game, the only game I've played where you don't, like, a lot of the games I've played, you have to follow a pretty linear storyline. So this was like, for my poor little kind of ADHD brain, this was like, oh my God, where am I supposed to go? What am I supposed to do? And I just kind of like, I stayed on, as I said, that one chapter for such a long time because I loved just going off and exploring stuff.
So
it was huge.
Do you want to hear about Kingdom Come Deliverance then?
Sure. No, because I feel like it's going to shoot mine in the head.
Yeah, so
Go on.
I spent more than you.
Okay.
You'd be pleased to hear that because yours was what, £4?
Mine's £4, yeah.
I spent £6.
Cool.
And now listen!
But main story, 41 hours, so an extra 13 hours on that. And completionist is 128 hours, which is an extra 30 hours on top of that game. It is absolutely massive, that game.
Yeah,
But did that game make you feel happy?
No.
This game made me feel happy.
I will tell you, I didn't like Final Fantasy 15. I hated it.
Really?
I loved it.
I actually enjoyed Kingdom Come Deliverance.
I think you just are a glutton for punishment and sadness.
Oh, I am partly.
Yeah.
No, definitely am. I definitely am.
This game made me feel happy.
The main problem I have with this is that it's just, I feel like half of that time, what's it, 120 hours?
128 hours.
It's spent aimlessly wandering around looking for things.
Normally the completionist on How Long to Beat is doing it competently as well. So realistically, you could be wandering for double that time.
Yeah, I think I have been.
God. Okay, so if Final Fantasy 15 doesn't win value for money, change that, I won't be that shocked.
But this is the argument. I mean, there is value for money because you've got your set amount of time that you could put in it to complete it.
Yeah.
But the question is, are you going to enjoy it the whole way through? And it sounds like you both enjoy playing Final Fantasy for longer than Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Yeah. My problem with this one is that it has a lot of that content, but a lot of it just feels like protracted for the sake of protracted at the point I'm at. Like, there was a mission where I went to be taught how to fight, and that was nice because it's after I'd been fighting for like 2 hours, and the game finally went, let me teach you.
And you're like, oh, now I know what I'm meant to do.
Now I know what I'm doing. And then...
Because they give you that very brief tutorial during that first fight when you're being attacked by the guys.
But you come into it and you go into this arena and you spend, I think, literally 10 minutes very slowly being taught how to fight. And then a guy rocks up and is a dick. And then you walk very slowly to the archery range. You very slowly fire about 3 arrows. You then talk to Mr. Dickhead again. Mm-hmm. He then challenges you to an archery off. Which I don't want to say too much, but I fucking ruined the bastard. He's like, I'm the most competent archer. I'm like, you're fucking shit, bud.
Yeah, you're gonna destroy him.
And then you he challenges you to a fight, and then you have like 5 minutes of just aimlessly bashing each other with swords.
So, but for that I understand, but is enjoyment a clouded thing on what is value for money? Because value for money is what are you going to get the most out of games for cost, essentially.
It just... The more the point I'm making is that felt like...
I mean, this also comes... I mean, now they're giving like free DLC. You can get the DLC for like £1, can't you? Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's free, but yeah, it's an extra
all I will say, and obviously this is a contentious issue, but what I would say is that if we have a what's the word? Category, that's the one, for most entertaining, then, surely the entertainment factor then should not come into it. It should just be down to quantity and cost.
That's where I was going with
More my point was that felt like 5 minutes of content stretched into 15 minutes of content.
I
how slowly the game delivered it to me.
But then you could argue that Final Fantasy is
a lot of just roaming.
His 30 fetch quests, which really you don't need to do.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same arguments, I think. Yeah. But I mean, people enjoy a fetch quest rather than you're going to be beaten mercilessly for the next 2 hours. So are we getting Kingdom Come Deliverance a point?
I would say so.
Sure,
I would say so.
Begrudgingly giving it a point. Yeah. Hooray! A point for Josh. But it wasn't. It was more to argue to get a point on there because I think it deserves it because just sheer content it's put in there is
that's a huge amount.
And the size of the team to put that together compared to that.
The credit I'll give is that Final Fantasy has a lot going on. It also has a lot of it feels empty.
Yeah.
Every second of this feels chock full of shit. Yeah. It's just not always as enjoyable. I don't mean shit. I don't mean shit quality. I just mean shit as in things.
There's so much stuff. Yeah.
Also.
The
quality is very mixed of the shit packed in everywhere.
The weird thing is that you're going to have different people who gravitate to the different sorts of games. Yeah. There are diehard fans for Kingdom Come Deliverance. There are diehard fans for all Final Fantasy games, and it's just the different style in which you enjoy gaming. That's what it is. Which is why we then have an entertainment category to see if we've bought for the right people. So currently there's a point for you, Karis, point for me.
Yeah.
And now we're looking for most entertaining, which Karis is probably going to give to Darren. Because just going by the general feelings of these other
I
games.
will say I was really and obviously this is a factor of me having never played another Final Fantasy game. The reviews for this were very mixed, probably leaning a little bit more towards negative, for the same reason that you said you much preferred other kind of Final Fantasies. There's an IGN review that basically says it's not as impactful as it could have been, while we do recommend that people get the Royal Edition because of the DLC.
Yeah, definitely.
The end of this review says the base game is truly not worth playing, which... I had a completely different experience of that. Yeah. I think it is thoroughly a lot of fun. And I think a lot of that as well is down to, and I'm going to actually go into this more in my play of the game, so I'm not going to say too much about it, but the dynamic between the friends, the voice acting, the dialogue is genuinely hilarious at times. The combat is awesome. I've never played Final Fantasy, so I've never had this style of combat before. Yeah. It's very enjoyable. I
wouldn't base this combat on Final Fantasy though, because that's a big turn away from it.
It's sort of 13 started the shift, and this is like the end of the shift.
Okay.
It was all turn-based before, so you'd have like a team and you'd send them in and go, whilst this is very much Ni no Kuni 2 style of open.
Yeah.
You sort of run around it. It's sort of different from that still, because Ni no Kuni 2 still feels like it's trying to be turn-based.
Yeah.
With a slightly different structure.
I expected from the tutorial of the combat actually that it was going to be more turn-based, because the tutorials are very turn-based.
Yeah.
So then in my first combat, I was quite like, oh Christ, okay, like we're just going to go for it, that's fine. But I didn't so much mind that because I don't have a lot of experience with turn-based games. Yeah. So for me, I had a lot of fun. Yeah. I had a lot of fun.
I will say, to give credit to those reviews, this game eventually does start stumbling over its own feet.
Yeah.
Quite massively.
You did say that there's a point in this game where you were like, you can feel it drop off.
Yeah. 100%, and it's why you play the Royal Edition, because a lot of the gaps get patched up by the DLCs.
Okay. Right.
And it feels like shit that should have been in the game that they just had to cut because it was too late and they couldn't finish it.
There was a problem as well with this, wasn't there, with the DLCs, in that they stopped they didn't give all the DLCs out. Is that correct?
I think there might have been a couple that didn't make it out.
So there were meant to be ones because I think you could buy the season pass before the Royal came out.
Yeah.
And then they went, actually, we're not doing these ones. And they're like, well, I've paid for them. They're like, well, we've cut it now. Sorry, move on.
But there's a point where like an event starts, and at the end of the event, like 6 things have happened off screen that massively impact the rest of the plot, and those are all in the DLCs. You essentially play those things to fill in the gaps in the story.
Okay.
But if you don't have the DLCs, it does feel very much like this is happening, and now we're here, and this is happening, and now we're here, and this is happening, and it basically stops being open world.
Right.
And it becomes a linear
funnel you
progression,
through the story.
Right, okay.
Which is, I still had fun with it. I can see why a lot of people wouldn't, because it does very much lose steam.
Yeah.
Right.
And it sort of, right at the end, collects itself a little bit. But, no, I still think it's a great game.
I think that's... I was going to say, that's got a similar issue, I imagine, with what... I think the extra bits they add to... A lot of games, you see it, they bring in these extra DLCs, you go, oh, I really wish that had been there from the start. It's a shame that I didn't get to play it. I mean, there's a lot of games where you'll play a massive open-world RPG, and they go, here's a bunch of DLC, and you're like, I'm not going back to it, but I appreciate that you've brought it in now, because it's just
I did that with Ni no Kuni 2, because we were talking about it. I bought the version with the DLC. I played the entire story. I'm like, I don't think I need the DLC.
Yeah.
I think I'm content with this being my experience of this game.
Yeah. So you enjoyed it, though?
I very much enjoyed.
I think it's good.
Yeah. I think the main thing is that as I said, I haven't gotten a long way through it. It wasn't that I didn't put hours in because I didn't like it. I looked forward to play it. I'm looking forward to carrying it on. It's a game that I want to finish, even if it takes me till death. So is it something I feel like I'll ever get a platinum on? No, but
it's a lot.
I will absolutely try and finish it to the end of the story, and I'm looking forward to doing so.
But I will say, from where you are, you're on like chapter 2. It doesn't start losing its shit until like chapter 9.
Yeah.
So
how many chapters are there?
15, I want to say, 14 or 15.
Yeah.
It stays strong for a good while.
Yeah.
And then it very much is like, oh.
So about 3/5 of it, you're good, and then
It's a lot of the same complaint people have about fucking Game of Thrones. It's really high quality, and then there's a point where you go,
really shit
we're trying to get to the end now,
In fairness, it reminds me a lot of, and I know I talk about it again, but like it reminds me a lot then of like the kind of layout of the Resident Evil games, where the first kind of 2/3 of the game are scary and they're really good, and then you always get like in Resi 7 like the boat bit where it's like, okay, this is kind of
we're wrapping up now.
I think RPGs all come across a lot of that same issue where it's like, look, here's all this open expanse, you've been able to do whatever you want, but there is a storyline that you need to follow, and you start doing those story missions and you're just going to be propelled forwards because you need to finish it now. So you got to a point it's like, do you want to continue because you can't go back beyond it, like that sort of level. Okay, and every RPG falls into those pits. On the other hand, Cooking Mama,
yes.
Talking of reviews, I'm going to read out this review from IGN again. Travis Northup from IGN gave out the game 3 out of 10, praising the detailed recipes featured in the game, but criticising the monotonous gameplay, poor motion controls, nightmarish voice acting, and lack of meaningful progression. He also noted the game does not offer anything new compared to past entries, which combined with the flaws made Cookstar a tedious game that does almost nothing well.
Nice.
I actually think that's quite rude.
I actually think that is a fair... I did enjoy this game at points. I thought it was a lovely, palette cleanse. It's nice, it's simple. I can stick it on. I can watch some TV whilst doing it. No real thought in it. It loses a massive part of its appeal by being a PlayStation game.
Yeah.
So the very first one was a DS game. The one I remember playing a lot of was on Switch, and the motion controls are so important. Like you're chopping, you have to make sure you're hitting it right.
Yeah.
You're doing set lines, you have to measure it. Whilst this is like up, down joysticks, and occasionally you have to shake your controller.
What was it like on the Wii?
It was great on the Wii. Love
because you stir.
I was going to say there's a lot of motion.
But this is very much up down, shake. I'm grating now. Knock it off a little bit.
Yeah,
and it is very tedious. I mean, you saw me going mental trying to do it. By the end of it, I was completing it out of spite more than anything else. I was like, "Fuck you! You're not beating me," and that's not the way you want a game to end.
Yeah.
I do think it's fun. I think for certain people, I think it's a great introductory game to get people like comfortable using the controls, understanding how a game is meant, like a game can be played. It's obviously not showing you what story and how wonderful a game can be, but it's like, this is what a game is. This is how you go up, down, no camera control, anything like that. And it gets the idea of customization so people are ready to do microtransactions for other games. But that's not a good thing either. I don't know. I wish... If I'd got it on the Wii, or the DS, and we're doing a bit more actual things, I probably would have enjoyed it a bit more.
Yeah.
But it's not done, and the motion controls are rocky.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, shake this, so I'd shake it, and he goes, you're shaking too fast, and I'm going very slowly.
Yeah.
And you go, okay, I'll stop, and then I'll do the same thing. He goes, perfect! I'm like, I've done nothing different here. It's not designed, obviously, for that. And I'm using the PS5 controller, which is meant to be really... quite good with the gyroscope inside it. And
that's why I'm wondering if it was like they're going too fast, because it's the extra like detail put into the gyroscopes in the 5 makes it too sensitive.
Potentially, it could be. And then,
so you like have a twitch and the game's like stop.
And let's be honest, the PS5 controllers are notoriously buggy and problematic because we're all working our way through a bunch of them after only having it for like a year. You have to buy a new one. But yeah, overall, I did think I started off enjoying the game by about a third of the way through the first set of recipes. When I went through it the first time, I got bored. I was like, all right, let's get through this. And then I got to the end and went, cool, I've got the platinum. And I went, oh no, you don't. Play them all. Play every recipe you've just done again, but without any hints. And I went, you fucking what? Jog on.
And then you did it anyway.
And then I did it anyway.
Yeah.
But I said I played this game out of spite. And I didn't want this to be a continuation of me hating every game I've been bought, because it's not fair. And I don't think I hate this game. I think it's very good at what it's doing. It's just what it's doing is boring.
I get that. Fair enough. I was going to say, I didn't get the impression that you hated it. No. I got the impression that it absolutely isn't something you would play by choice.
No, and I don't know that's true. If you gave me, again, the original one on Switch, I'd have a lovely afternoon.
Okay.
I'd have a lovely afternoon playing it. If you get on Switch on DS, if you gave me the one on the Wii, I'd have a lovely bit of time playing it on there.
Yeah.
In fact, I have it on Wii. I probably would try and get it linked up, and I would stream myself playing it for 3 hours and go, that was a fun 3 hours.
Yeah.
Playing it for 30 hours of doing the same thing over and over again, it was essentially akin to being waterboarding.
How does she react in this one when you mess up?
Still with like the fire in her eyes.
I was hoping that was still in there.
So she's got anger issues too.
Yeah, and you're like, you asked me to crack an egg. I cracked an egg. Yes, I smashed the egg as well. But I super cracked that egg.
I was wondering if it was like the Animal Crossing thing where they made Rossetti nicer because it was upsetting kids. But no, she still calls you a fucking moron.
Yeah. Wait, what? She was upsetting kids?
No, this is in Animal Crossing. Rossetti the mole used to come out if you didn't save your game. Right. He used to basically...
go, oi, dickhead!
Yeah. He basically used to go, you've just fucking deleted all your game. All of that time you spent was for nothing. How do you feel? And they made it nicer as the games went on because he was too mean.
But she's always...
I love GameCube Rossetti. He's a proper cunt.
Cookie Mama always has been a bit of a bitch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So enjoyable for your game, Darren.
Kingdom Come.
I've got to be honest, I've spoken to you whilst you've been playing this game.
I keep changing my mind.
And you have been flip-flopping like no other.
I respect it a lot more than I like it, I think. I really respect what it's going for. Mm-hmm. Like, a lot of it is quite open in how you approach things. So, early on, there's a quest where a baker... is trying to get you to get a ring back for him.
Yeah, I know this quest, yeah.
And he basically just says, go to this guy's house, get the ring back. And you go, solid. The guy has like guard dogs who are there, and he is there himself. And if you try to go past, the dogs will start barking, he'll come out. So the idea is you go in under like cover of night. Yeah. You dig it up and the ring's on the body, and he says, the guy's clearly taken the ring. What you can then do from there is you can go in... you can talk to the guy and be like, I know you have the ring. Okay. And he'll then try and sell it to you.
Yeah.
You can go in. This is my favourite one. You can tell him he has a delivery. So he'll go off and then you can just break into his house and fucking steal shit.
Oh my God.
I just broke into his house.
Yeah.
And went into him and robbed his chest while he was asleep.
Fair enough. You did the Skyrim method.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then that's sort of clunky in its own way. Like, if you tell him out of order to go to the delivery thing, you then can't do that again.
Yeah.
If he tries to sell it to you and you say you don't have enough money, you then lose the option to buy it from him. Yeah. You can't go and make more money and then come back. My biggest problem overall with that is that you need to lockpick.
Right.
The baker has a thing where he goes, have you lockpicked before? And I had, because the way I broke out of the castle originally in the previous quest was I picked a lock to steal some armour to sneak out dressed as a guard.
But if you say no, he gives you lockpicks.
Yeah. He gives you 10 lockpicks and runs you through the tutorial again. If you say, I have lockpicked, he goes, all right, off you trot. And then I broke the lockpick, so I had to go back to the previous town to buy a lockpick, because there's nowhere else to buy them at that point in the game. And then stuff like the combat. The combat's really interesting, because it essentially works on like a 5-angle system. And then you can guard in the same 5 angles. So the idea is you try and guard the direction they're swinging, and you can like fake swing and then swing round. You can like poke, you can do parries, you can do various kinds of blocks. But that's also really clunky.
It is.
Half the time you'll try and swing, and it'll just be like, just stood there waiting, and then you'll get stabbed in the chest. It's like, no, I told you to swing. And he's like, oh, am I swinging? And then by that time, their shield's been there for a year. They've read a full novel.
Oh, okay.
Henry does feel dim, doesn't he? Like,
Yeah,
you're like,
worthless.
But you're doing it. You're like, is it me, or is Henry just genuinely being difficult at this point? But I love those encounters where you're doing stuff, and they're like, no, you chose your path now. You live with your mistakes. And I love a game that goes, no, fuck you.
Yeah.
like the gatekeeper.
Yeah.
Fuck you, gamekeeper. Fuck you. You messed up. You live with your mistakes. Go sort it out now.
Yeah. Like the only problem I have with it, I don't mind that. I mind it in the case of, I said, can I buy it off you? He said 30 gold. I said, I don't have 30 gold, and that was it.
Yeah.
I couldn't then go away, make 30 gold, come back and buy it. The game was just like, nope, you fucked it. I'm like, well, how was I supposed to know you'd ask me for that much money?
Yeah, and the problem is, I mean, I get it, because by the same token, if you go back to me, it goes, oh no, it's 50 gold now. Like, I think
that would have been fine.
But I feel like that's what it's trying to do, rather than going, I'm just going to program in, it's always going to ask for 20 more gold than you've got now, because fuck you.
But, like, this is, this game is from 2018, I think.
I think is it 2018? I thought it was older than that.
It's 2018 or 2016.
I think it's 2016 is where I think it is. But I'll check it out now.
And the main knock I have against this game is that Skyrim exists.
Yeah.
Right.
This game feels like it's built on Oblivion, which is the one before.
Sorry, 2018.
2018.
That's
from like 2006 Oblivion was, and this feels like it was built on that engine. If this is built similar to how Skyrim plays, with these mechanics built on top, even with the same sense of realism, the same little bits of clunkiness, it at least works better because it feels like a game that exists in the world in 2018.
Yeah.
This feels like a game that was built in 2008, sat on for 10 years, and then they launched it.
Okay.
I feel, I think that's a fair criticism of it, but I think it's also fair to also say that it is a small studio making it. It is a small studio making it.
Yeah.
So it's got, and the scope that they went for is part of the downfall for it. If they'd made it a smaller game, it probably.
As I say, I respect the hell out of it. I really appreciate what it's going for. I think it's got some really cool ideas. I think parts of it are interesting, like the way you can approach things differently and the way different things sort of sit there. I also think there are major problems with it. I got thrown in jail because I accidentally walked into a room.
This is funny though. I think that really makes me laugh.
But isn't that actually what probably would happen at that time?
I thought normally that door would have a thing that says private.
I mean, yeah, but in the 15th and 16th century, do you think that they would do that?
It's 1403 as well.
The main problem I'm having with it is the guy I was looking for was the bailiff. So I accidentally walked into this room looking for the bailiff. I go, oh, he's not in here. Fine. I see trespassing. I go, oh, sorry. I back out. A guard a mile away goes, you were trespassing. I'm like, no, I wasn't. So I walk off. I go, oh, the bailiff's upstairs. That's why I can't find him. There's 16 doors, but he's actually upstairs because the map doesn't have directional markers. I walk upstairs. I talk to the bailiff, and he goes, you're going to pay for your crimes. I'm like, motherfucker. I am here to talk to you about your fucking quest you're offering me, and he's like, jail. I'm like, fine.
Oh my god.
I guess I was fucking out of prison then, because I accidentally put a toe in a room I wasn't meant to, because the game didn't tell me it was trespassing until I was in the room.
Yeah, and as I said, I'm the wrong person to say it as a fault, because I think that's funny and I enjoy it, and which is why I like the game. I mean, I know exactly how this is going to go, because entertainment-wise, I'm clearly going to go to Kingdom Come Deliverance. You're both going to go for Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah, I am.
And I know exactly where it's going, and no one's going for Cooking because it's a hell game for hell people.
If it was the DS one, I'd drive Cooking all day long.
Oh, yeah. In fact, I would argue if it was the DS or the Wii one, I would go, that probably is the most and you have a bunch of...
So it's the console that lets it down, really?
No. The console, and it's just repeating itself. It hasn't done anything new. It's done nothing at new age, and the graphics are poor, and she's offensive.
Well, I think you were offensive.
So Final Fantasy, yeah?
Sadly, I think it's going to Final Fantasy. Not sadly, because I think it's a good game and a lot of people love it for a good reason. But I would argue the Kingdom Come Deliverance. But that's my own thing, and I can't. I don't think I can get either of you to sway. So
I will not sway from that.
Final Fantasy 15 is, which means again we're a three-way tie, and again I've been left with the most garbage game to try and come up with a play of the game.
Lovely.
Fuck me. You guys have really fucked me over this.
Oh my god. I mean, if you could just
it's the third one. Yes, you have.
From the heart.
What was the other game? What's the game you gave me that I couldn't
Marvel vs. Capcom.
Yes, how was I meant to do anything with that?
I thought you'd do better on the other ones for that.
I suppose it's my fault. I need to just go and try and win the first two categories then. Right, play of the game. Let's go to the people who've actually got good play of the games first.
I'll go.
Darren.
I'll go play of the game. So as I said, the way this game starts out is that your family get horribly butchered and you run away.
Perfect.
And you go to this castle, and then your first main quest outcome is to go and...
You're just laughing at my general stare.
Your family gets butchered. Love it.
You won't be laughing as much when I get to play the game. So your first main quest then is to go back and bury your parents because you are a good Christian boy, and that's what should happen. And so you go through this whole thing where you break out of the castle you're in.
Good Christian boy.
Good Christian boy. Which is a horribly clunky thing to begin with, because the guy they told me to find was not where he said he was. So I had to wander around for years going, is that his name? Is that his name? Is that his name? But you ride out. I also had to walk back. You meant to take a horse back, but I got on my horse and it glitched into the roof of the stable and I couldn't get it back. So I walked all the way back to the town, and this might have enhanced it, actually. Enhanced the play of the game. But because of the butchering that has happened, you essentially then walk backwards through the razing and the destruction of your town. Mm-hmm. So you sort of come to a point where there's a massive mound of bodies being burned outside of a mill. Yeah. And you get there and you're like, well, this is fucked.
Yeah.
And this is here really to like illustrate the brutality of the whole situation.
Yeah.
Because you're walking back, there's a cart that's been tipped over and like set on fire, and there are charred bodies in it.
Yeah.
There are bodies like along the ground who have been like run through as they've been trying to run away. There are people who have been lynched on like the sides of buildings and stuff.
Yeah.
There are bandits everywhere. And it's this really, especially because the start of it is so, you go and chat with the local barmaid and you get into a scrap with your buddies, and it's all like, it's fun. You're the son of a blacksmith. You're living your life. You're having a good time. And it really sets the tone of this harrowing spirit of like, no, this is like, people are being stabbed, people are being lynched, people are being murdered, shit's being set on fire.
Yeah.
As you're running away, you have to stop 3 guards from sexually assaulting the baker's daughter.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay.
And as you're going back, you're like, this is fucked.
Yeah.
And it properly sets the vibe of like, you are not dealing with some run-of-the-mill fucking bandits or whatever. You are dealing with the lowest of the low. You are dealing with some proper shit. And then you arrive back at town, try to bury your parents, bandit shop, and they kick the shit out of you. That's a fight I thought I was supposed to win. You are not.
No, you're not.
That guy's just like, haha, bash.
No.
Fuck you.
So, is that your play of the game? Is that entire
just
desolate?
That walk back from, I've got over here, everyone's happy to see me, it's a lovely time, I'll go back, I'll bury them, it'll be grand. And you get to like the bodies. Like, oh no.
Yeah, that's dark. That is dark.
But this is the thing, it very much sets the tone of this isn't a fantasy fun run-of-the-mill game. Like, it isn't like, things went poorly, but don't worry, you come back as like a hero. You live with the shit that's happened, and I think it does a very good job.
And it really illustrates, like, there's a running theme of he's guilty that he ran away. And that then reiterates that you walk back and you're like, he was supposed to be here.
Yeah.
This was, like, one of these could have been him.
Or he could have stayed and helped these people instead,
And he chose the path he chose. And it's exactly as you say, he chose the path he chose, and now he has to live with that. He's not like the hero of legend. He's not like some superpowered guy who has ancient powers of the gods. He is a blacksmith's son who has run away and now has to live with everyone he knows being dead.
And trying to make amends and trying to be a better person because of it. I think it's
that's really like it's dark, but that's
rough.
Cool. Like it's rough, but
so that was really dark and rough.
Mine is not. So with Final Fantasy 15,
I was thinking about it.
As we said before, you get warned about staying out in the dark, okay? And at this point, I was kind of out in the wilderness, and it was getting dark. And I think it's Gladiolus was like, oh, it's getting dark, we have to go back. And Gladiolus, for those of you who haven't played before, right, is this hulking, like almost like he looks like a friggin' huge like metal fan. He wears like this, he's got like long dark hair, he wears like this denim vest with no shirt on underneath. Like he's a badass. He's like, I think we should go back to the car because it's dark and, he's gruff like this. And I'm like, yeah, cool, okay.
How accurate is that, Darren?
That's pretty good.
It's pretty good, yeah. Thank you. It's a good review, thanks.
Yeah.
And
I haven't played the game in 2 years, but it's pretty good.
There's another character in there that I really like is his friend called, as I've mentioned him before, Ignis. I would describe Ignis as being quite camp. He's quite a camp fella. But I love them. I think they're great characters. And so I think, they're right. I've been caught out in the dark before. I'll start walking back to the car.
I'm sad you didn't mention a little Twinkie Prompto.
I love Prompto, but to be fair, Gladiolus and Ignis were the star of
King
this.
of the Twinks, Prompto.
Yeah.
What a lad.
Yeah. And so I start walking back to where we've parked the car now, and it's kind of getting dark. And this thing comes out and starts fighting it, and I'm thinking, oh god, I'm fucked. This thing is massive, right? So we're doing combat, and this is the first kind of big combat I've had. I've killed little things. This is the big combat I've been kind of waiting for. So I'm going in, I'm killing them, I'm swapping back and forth between Prompto. I can't remember what we called him.
Prompto.
King of the Twinks.
Prompto.
Yes, yeah.
Beautiful boy.
And Ignis, and we're all fighting. We're having a great time. I then notice from the corner that Gladiolus isn't fighting. He's just on the side, basically cheerleading. Yes, go on, Noctis, yes. So I'm already laughing, right? So this is where the combat is going really well. We kill this beast, and out of nowhere, Ignis, completely unrelated, in this weird voice, just goes, a new recipe! And I was like, what just happened?
Someone read the episode brief.
I was taken back by the cheerleading of Gladiolus anyway. But then as we kill this thing, he kills it. You can see him in combat saying a new recipe. It just came from nowhere. And I gotta be honest, it may have been a you have to be there moment, but I was laughing about it for days.
The best part of this game is the shit they say.
Yeah.
The shit those boys really come out with, A+.
But it was the way he said it as well. Like, that is not an exaggeration. It was so left field. His pronunciation of it. It had a lot of
over the top.
A new recipe. How does that have anything to do with what we've just done?
I love it.
It was great.
Ignis thinks he's cool. He's not cool.
He's not cool.
Cool. So we've had dark and gruff, big battle, and now Cooking Mama, which is a far smaller scope.
Is it the cannibalism?
It is.
Is it the feminist prose that comes with it?
I just loved breaking apart the ulnar and radius of the various. No, it's So the bit that I enjoyed, and I think this is probably the most infantile thing that I could have done.
I was hoping for the third week in a row it'd be turning it off.
No, don't get me wrong. I had a huge sense of satisfaction when I beat the game, and it was wonderful to get the platinum. I was like, great, this feels amazing because don't have to do it again. Now, the bit that I'm going to talk about is this, the Instagram feed and stuff. So you get to the end of, you've made your dish, which is great. You've got all these things.
Yeah.
You take a picture of it. You can then choose your different filter. You're scrolling through, like make it dark and moody, make these pancakes dark and moody. I can change the background, what I'm presenting it on. And then like most of them, you have the option to like drop a little bit, like a flower here or a little extra sushi or something like that.
Yeah.
Now, it's then you take the picture and it gets sent through, and then you get a bunch of likes depending on how well you've done and everything.
Yeah.
Now, the bit that I enjoyed the most is when I made the pancakes, because I did a really good job with the pancakes. And after that, you get to add like some syrup. You can add sort of a cherry sort of thing on there. There's little sprinkly bits. And whipped cream.
Cool.
So obviously, you know where this is going.
Yep.
I drew a massive penis.
Yep.
I took the syrup. I put the sprinkles on the testicles, made it all hairy, and then the cream coming out the top.
As soon as you said you could add syrup, I went, oh, you drew a dick. Cool.
And I drew a dick. The best bit was, it was the last thing I did on the completionist version. And then it goes, you take a picture, it goes, do you want to replace your other one?
Yep.
And so he showed the one I did
It's
the
a
first
dick.
time around, and I did a dick on that one as well. And I was like, I haven't grown or changed. This game may have broken me, but it doesn't matter. So I have a picture of me getting the platinum. So in my videos, it's going, do you platinum? It's like, what? 2 dicks just appear on my screen of me getting the platinum for this game. So I was like, oh, it's over. Then I looked at the screen and went, what have I done? What have I... Interestingly enough, dicks both facing the same direction, so I was very much continuing on with my theme. So mine is less about the game, more about my own infantile way of enjoying what I've been given.
Oh my
God. It was drawing 2 dicks.
I feel like we formed a good scale there of like the horrible butchering of an entire village to I drew 2 dicks.
Oh, the ficklency of man.
Oh my God.
I don't think that's an expression. What is it? The frecklety is not, isn't that? Frecklety.
The faculty!
Frecklety rock, yes.
Yes, man's freckles tea.
Yeah,
Oh my
man's
God.
freckled tea.
The duality of man.
Duality, not ficklety of man. But yeah, 3 very different play of the game.
Yes.
Any idea who we're going for?
Listen, I was first of all going to vote for the dicks because of the dicks. But I actually... Oh no, I don't know if I can
You're going to give it to Darren. Are you going to give it to Darren?
Do you know what? No, I'm going to give it to the dicks because as much as that was really, really hard hitting and that's why I was going to give it to it, I think the fact that the thing that swung it for me is the fact that you drew a dick the first time and you forgot about it until you did it a second time.
I had been drawing different things on different ones. That's the worst thing. I'd worked like drawing different, like a face here, a cat on this thing. It just happened to be a dick on both of those.
It was
pancakes.
really hard for me then to make that decision because that Kingdom Come one is heart-wrenching.
Oh, and it is a truly brilliant opening sort of part of the game.
But I've got to be honest, the drawing 2 dicks has really swung it for me.
Pardon the pun.
Yeah.
2 dicks. Are you giving it to the dicks, Darren?
I'm giving it to the dicks. Yeah! Honestly, for exactly the same reason. At the start of that story, I was like, that's pretty funny. Like, I don't know if, like, is drawing a dick on a pancake really what we're going to crown ourselves as this is the best thing we did this episode? But it's absolutely the fact that you went, I'm so clever, I'll draw a dick, I'll put the sprinkles on, I'll draw the cream. And he goes, do you want to replace it? And it's literally the same fucking image.
I genuinely have the picture saved in my captures.
Oh my God.
I don't know if I do actually anymore because it might be over 2 weeks since I played it. But I took a picture at the time. I was like, yeah,
I really
this
hope
is
you
great.
do because if you don't
It'll be on
share that on your Instagram,
it'll be on the PlayStation.
Yeah,
it's on the PlayStation.
It's literally that. It's just that you went, I'm so funny, I'm so clever.
Josh.
Oh, it's
Josh
exactly
wins.
what I did last time.
Josh wins by drawing dicks. What a fucking
I wish we could win every episode like that.
What a sad way to take the crown. Oh my God, I'm back in the race, guys. I'm back in, I'm here. I'm competing.
You are.
Oh, fuck.
You are lucky because I was this close.
Well, the worst bit is I would have gone for Darren's.
Yeah.
So Darren would have won. I'm glad it didn't happen.
No.
Sorry, guys. But yes, so not saying Cookamon was the best game, but it happened to be the one that got 2 points out of 4. It's not going to go in the vault. It better not. Don't vote for it for the vault.
Nah, do it.
It's a feminist cannibalism story, and I think it deserves to be there.
Yeah.
So that's the end of this one's episode. Should we have a little look at what we're going to be doing on the very next episode?
Absolutely.
By pulling up the random...
And it's going to be our first episode of 2023.
Oh, it is? Yeah.
Exciting
So let's hope it's something
times.
appropriate.
Yeah.
Random genre generator.
Okay, so
What are we going to be doing next time?
next episode for the first episode of 2023.
Woohoo!
If you want it to be appropriate to 2023, it sounds like there's going to be some weird like Y2K-esque shenanigans going on.
Okay.
Because our next episode is non-human protagonists.
Hey,
Nice.
So in the new
okay.
year, we're no longer human.
Cool.
I mean, given everything that's happened over the last kind of 3 years or so, I can believe it.
Yeah.
That's opened up a lot of different possibilities.
Yeah.
Some of the good ones have already gone, though, that we've already done in previous ones. Like Akami, I think, is potentially one of the
best ones.
The top ones up there. Any other ones that we can't do that we've done? Just trying to think.
Hades would have been cool because they're not technically human.
No, they're gods, I suppose.
Yep.
So that'd been a fun way to go about
Destroy
it.
humans. Gone.
Yeah, little alien boy's gone.
Yeah.
But I mean, it opens it up for animals and robots.
Yes.
And
I mean, you couldn't do
sorts
destroy
of-
all humans, aliens.
That's what we just said.
Oh, I missed that. Sorry.
I
literally destroy humans too.
I was
Fine.
asking. I looked across at Darren, then I looked at you, and you looked like you were staring.
Oh my god! I'm so
I was
sorry.
like, right, Keris is gone for the episode.
The gears are turning.
I have got this because I've got a few ideas about what we could do.
Yeah, the gears are turning.
Yeah, I'm
a
deep in
grandfather
thought.
clock from the
No,
20s.
you can't do Metal Gears.
I'm excited. I've got a few ideas.
You could do a Revengeance because Ren's a cyborg.
Yeah, I mean, it's half human, though. I mean, it'd be a lot to argue, wouldn't it?
I'm sorry, is it non-half human protagonist?
No, that's it.
I don't think anybody's going to pick this because it is expensive, but like, would this not be a perfect opportunity if it was a bit older to do Stray?
Ooh, Stray's actually quite cheap as a
That would've been good.
right now. Yeah, that'd be a good one. So yeah, then maybe we might get.
Yeah.
I might get Stray. I mean, I platinumed it. I love Stray. But anyway, that's the end of this episode. Do come along to our next one. Our next one, we are going to be doing a review of 2022. We're going to be doing our best games of 2022 with a couple of categories. So let's focus on the PlayStation Plus stuff. Just more focus on how good this year has been.
It's going to be fun.
Just let you know what we liked to get away from this.
So
Indeed.
Yeah, indeed. If you want to check us out on anything else, do find us on social. So on Instagram, we're at Disccount Pod. So it's 2 C's.
Yep.
And then each of us have our own ones, which is at Disccount, and then our names, which is Keris, Josh, and Darren.
Yeah.
So
That's Darren with 2 C's.
Also, if there are any accounts that you find with hyphens in their name, it's not me.
yes, she swears she doesn't have an OnlyFans.
If I did, I'd tell you.
But yeah, there's a bunch of
I wonder how this
accounts out there.
mic was purchased.
Yes. Also, on top of that, we do release these on YouTube. So if you want a longer version of it, which has not been edited at all, well, cleaned up, but not cut any of the content, go check us out on YouTube. And you can see our lovely faces. And lastly, we also do stream as well. We stream 3 times a week now on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. That's 7 p.m. British Standard Time.
Yep.
And yeah, go check us out on Twitch, which is Disccount Pod. Basically, check Discount Pod and you'll find us somewhere. It will autocorrect it to just 1C and you won't find us. So do look for
That
2.
is a problem.
Yeah. I didn't think it through when we put it together.
fine.
When Google says, I'm showing you results for this, you can be like, fuck no, Google. That's not what I wanted.
We know better.
We're being silenced by Big Google.
We are.
We are. But again, thank you for everyone for listening. Do share it, do like it, do all those fun bits that make our lives a lot better.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do. Also, if you don't want to do any of that, fine, fuck it.
Yeah.
Do what you do. You're your own person. We
But
can't
Cooking
tell you.
Mama will find you.
Cooking
We've
Mama-
established
She will.
now she's a cannibal.
And she will eat you.
Actual cannibal Cooking Mama.
Yeah, she'll make you into pancakes and then draw a dick on you.
Yes. Yes, that's it. With lots of squirty cream.
Yeah.
And that's the end of this episode then, guys. Thank you.
What a horrible thing to end on.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so thank you for tuning in and licking up that cream.
Yep.
Thank you,
Oh,
Player
God.
Force. We'll catch you next time.
Oh, God.
Bye. A new recipe.